well, let's go to our guy who's always inside the locker room and was inside, I believe, both locker rooms today at Ford Field. Adam Jahns, our Bears in Ford Field. Johnsy, that went exactly like we all thought, right?
Well, it was a tale of two locker rooms today after the game, fellas. One was very happy and proud of what they did, happy to stick it to their old coach, and the other one was rushing to get out of here, not too happy. So, I'm on the record saying I would have been surprised by a blowout by the Lions because I thought the Bears would be competitive, and I thought for the most part in the first half they were, and then things just got away from them in the final drive of the second quarter, and then the third quarter just belonged to the Lions. It was an onslaught, and the Bears really had no answer.
Johns, you decided you wanted to go to the Lions locker room after the game. Why were you feeling that way, and what did you learn in there?
Well, I was tired of going into a losing locker room, Adam. It's been a long time. So, I'm kidding. I wanted to hear what the Lions had to say really about Ben Johnson's place in this rivalry now. And they didn't hide the fact that they were more motivated. They wanted to score 50 points. They wanted to stick it to the Bears and their former coach. They wanted to put on a show in a way for Ben Johnson. All his former players did, and they did exactly that. Guys, I don't know about you, but I'm watching this game, and as this is getting away from the Bears, I thought for sure you could almost feel what the Lions wanted to accomplish. They wanted 50 points. They wanted a blowout win. They wanted to stick it to their former offensive coordinator. They wanted to stick it to their divisional rival and make a statement, and they did. And it all happened really in that second half.
Did you find anybody in the Bears locker room, Johnsy, that took umbrage with anything the Lions did as far as putting up the 50 ball? Was there anybody that was?
And if they do feel that way, Carm, well, stop them. It's as simple as that. I'm not surprised that Dan Campbell sent out a starting offense one more time and that fourth and goal. I don't think you were. I think it was pretty clear what they wanted to do. Again, I think they wanted that 50. If they take issue with the Lions hanging 50 on them, then stop them. I think it's as simple as that. That's messaging, just like you guys talked about leadership. If anyone's complaining about that, some leaders got to step in and tell them to shut up because that's not something you should be complaining about after the game, just in terms of what happened on this field out here in Detroit.
So you talked about leadership, Johns, and me and Carm were talking about this earlier. Who do you think is the leader of the locker room when they're looking at a guy to right the ship? Who would you say, being in the locker room, who is that guy?
You know what? That's a great question because I think a lot of those guys are newcomers, which, Corey, I'm not sure how you feel about that. I would like those leaders to be draft picks who have come up through the Bears, who understand what it means to be a Bear. Now, you look at Cole Kmet, you look at players like that who have been here. Jaquan Brisker, I think, can be a leader. But the players didn't vote for those guys. It happens sometimes. The older guys in the room always get the votes. I feel like the quarterback always gets those votes, regardless. Like Jay Cutler always got those votes when you knew that locker room belonged to Brian Urlacher and Owen Kreutz. They don't have those dominating personalities that Brian Urlacher and Owen Kreutz were years ago. When I first started covering the Bears, Brian Urlacher was a presence in that locker room. They don't have that type of presence right now. It's been a long time, really, since they have.
Yeah, it's a problem. it's a problem, honestly, because lead by example only gets you so far. Sometimes you got to lead with, a little more action in there, and I'm not seeing enough of that. So I guess that's where it starts with Ben Johnson. So I'll ask you this, Johns. Who's most likely to lose their starting job this week? Cairo Santos, Darnell Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, Jonah Jackson? Pick one or all of the above.
Well, according to my timeline, I feel like a lot of those players got cut today by the fans, just judging by their reaction. If I had to pick one, it's probably Tyreek Stevenson because I think that's an easy switch. Maybe Nick McLeod gets more games. I know Jalen Johnson left this game with a groin injury, so maybe it's not that easy of a switch on second thought. But, yeah, I don't know. They seem to pick on him. The Lions seem to go after number 29 a lot. I think they saw that as a very favorable matchup for them, especially after number 1 left the game with his groin injury. So I would say that seems like a spot where maybe a competition could take place. But who? I'm not sure who that is to step up on defense right now.
Especially with Jalen being out. Did you get I know there's not really injury updates, but did you get any feeling? I'll just give you my feeling. My feeling on Jalen Johnson and T.J. Edwards re-aggravating their injuries that's not a good feeling. It just makes it hard for Dennis Allen to try to stop this bleeding with his defense if he's got to go forward without those guys.
Yeah, it's in my experience, it's never a good feeling or a good situation when it's the same injuries being reported. It wasn't like a new ailment popped up. It wasn't like it's a shoulder because Jalen Johnson made a diving play in the ball. No, it's the groin injury, which kept him out of training camp and which has been problematic for a while. And in my experience, it's never a good thing when a player goes from questionable to out in one game and also leaves for the locker room almost immediately. I think we all saw T.J. Edwards pull up a little bit on that long play by Jameson Williams, but it's not good. Those are two starters that you were hoping to count on throughout the entirety of the season, and they're going to be missing some time again.
Johnsy, which Lion rubbed it in the most? Do we have a winner of that award?
You know what? I didn't so I left Jameson Williams' scrum for a little bit, and then I came back and returned, and I'll read you his answer. So this is Jameson Williams. I wish I had video of it for you guys to share, but I came back a little bit too late. Jameson Williams, quoted, "I think we only scored 50 points once or twice under Ben. This is our OC's second game, and we put up 50. So I don't think there's not really a drop-off without Ben. Shout out to Ben. He's a great coach, a great play caller. But, we made plays, man. To me, we just got to go out there and make plays. I really didn't see a difference or a drop-off with the different coaches from Ben to Johnny Morton. But Johnny Morton went out there and called a great game for us this week, and we scored 50 points. That is Lions receiver Jameson Williams."
Oh, boy.
Can't disagree with it. I mean, he did. I think what's going to end up being the question here that we're going to see over the coming month or so.
They don't play the Bears every week.
How much of that was because they were playing this banged up and possibly not good Bears defense? Last week against the Packers, they couldn't score a touchdown until the final minute of the game. And so that's really going to be the question if you're the Lions going forward.
Or maybe Adam, the Packers are darn good, which is another conversation, I guess, for another day.
Well, and if all that if what we've seen so far is the truth, then the Bears are probably going to go 0-6 in the division, and the Lions are going to fight it out at the top.
Or maybe they can get a win in January and then talk about how we started the year 1-0.
All right. So Johns, it's like Death Valley around here. And Ben Johnson came to the podium and talked about, still believing in the team. We're 2 weeks into this season, and a lot of fans are ready to punt. Like, do you see anything that could give you any kind of inclination that they can find a way to turn this around sooner rather than later?
Well, I don't think it's – now, if he's really saying that we still believe in this team, that's never a good sign to be hearing it that early in the season. I think that's problematic. That's probably that's a red flag. Now, I don't think it's a red flag for Ben Johnson because I don't think anybody should be giving up on him and his offensive expertise. I think you still saw signs of it taking place in this game. I think the bigger story – coming into this one was, or after this one, is what happened on defense. Like, whoa, that was not good. Like, Jared Goff is still standing out there with time to pass, I think. So it wasn't a good defensive pass rush. The receivers obviously had mismatches throughout the secondary. And as Jameson Williams said, Johnny Morton had a good day. So to me, I'm still preaching patience with everything that Ben Johnson wants to do, but I don't like hearing already from him that we still believe in this team this early because to me, at least again in my experience, it seems to be like a problematic thing to say at this point, only 2 weeks in.
That's an excellent point. It's way better to hear that at 2-5 than at 0-2. 0-2, it's way too early for we still believe in you. That's like a week 9 thing when it looks like you have to win out to make the playoffs. But that's where we're at. Johnsy, real quick, your thoughts on Caleb today?
I thought he was good in the first half. I thought the best thing that Caleb Williams did, especially early on, was the poise he showed in the pocket. That first touchdown to Rome Odunze, stood in there strong. He had a blitz coming, trusted his protection, and made the relatively easy completion to a wide-open Rome Odunze, streaking across the middle, catch and run, touchdown. Good play. I liked the response early on to tie up the game, as well as the momentum seemed to be in, the Lions' favor, but I just look at that third quarter, guys. I have some of the stats here. When the Lions were putting up points, you had Jared Goff in the third quarter, 4 for 4 for 123 yards and a touchdown. You had the running game producing nine carries for 59 yards. And then you had Caleb Williams in the third quarter going 1 for 6 for 15 yards and 2 sacks. And their run game producing 29 yards and 5 carries. So things got away from Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson and really the entire team in that third quarter.